Test. Duncan, can you hear me okay? Yes, okay, maybe I've got something muted. I can't hear you. Are you up?
Oh, I was muted.
You were muted. Okay, now it's good. Okay, good
Hello.
to see you.
Nice
1 second
to see
here.
you as well.
I can hear you. I'm just starting up a second camera here.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Okay. There's Yannick, Diego. How are you doing?
Not so bad. I just finished the year, so I'm feeling pleased that I made it through, but hoping that it won't be quite as it was again in the future.
Obviously. Hello, Diego. Yeah. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
You're hanging in today?
Yeah, I'm not bad.
Yannick, are you there?
I am there. I just sent you a private message telling you that I'm gonna have to leave at 2:50.
Yeah, no problem, man. It's all good.
Thank you.
So if you could change your name to actually be your actual name, if you haven't yet, that would be greatly appreciated. David, hello. David, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, David, how are you? If everyone could turn on their video for just a few seconds here at the beginning, I know bandwidth concerns are an issue, but if you could just turn it on for 2 minutes so we can kind of half see each other, even if it's a little choppy, that would be fantastic. Yannick, do you mind?
Oh.
Hey, David, hello.
Hey, you want to show? And my friend Emma's here too, so.
Oh, my bad.
You want to show yourself? Sure.
Paulo, hello. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna wait. Callum is coming in. Duncan, aren't you and Callum like roommates? You just
He's in the other room. We're just trying to
doing
keep some semblance of individuality. Yeah.
Absolutely, no problem. That's good to see everybody. Thank you so much for showing up. All right. So we're just going to wait 1 or 2 more minutes, but in the meantime, why don't we go ahead and start with a check-in. So I am literally just person to person, like human being to human being. How are you in this moment? And I'm just going to go around the screen in the order that you're in. You do not have to respond if you don't want to. But anything that you want to share with us about how you're doing would be very welcome. We're just trying to connect with people here. Duncan, how are you doing today?
Not so bad today. I'm feeling pretty relieved at the moment because the year has ended for me. So, feeling pretty free.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Substantial relief.
Indeed.
Excellent. Diego, how are you doing today?
I feel good too. I'm also glad that school is done. Been taking some time to do stuff that I like to do. Been doing some reading, some recreational reading. Just chilling, just taking it easy.
That sounds awesome. Thank you so much. David, how are you doing today?
I'm quite well, thank you. Quite well.
And who is it that's joining us with you?
Hi, I'm Amber.
Hi, Amber. How are you today?
I'm good.
Yeah, good. Excellent. Paulo, how are you doing today?
I'm feeling a little bit stressed because I'm starting work tomorrow and I haven't worked in a few months. So feeling a little bit stressed, but happy that I'm in the meeting today.
Excellent. Well, yeah, we are definitely with you there. We believe in you. Know you can do it. We're glad that you're getting a job because that's something most of us have wondered about as the pandemic has stretched on.
Yeah.
But glad to hear you've taken that step.
Thank you.
Yannick, how are you today?
Doing better. Doing definitely better when the semester is over. Can't wait to get my vaccine for COVID.
Yes. So I just got the vaccine like last week. does that makes me maybe younger than I look? Is that fair to say? Okay, good. So Yannick, I can tell you right now, if you get the vaccine, they're going to tell you it might hurt your arm. Do not listen to them. It hurts like a mother. It's just like my arm hurt for a week. And I thought it was just, oh, they're just doing this for these babies who don't really know how to take a shot. And I mean, come on, how young are we here? I swear to God, the next day I was crying. It hurt so much. It was serious. So watch out for that. Totally worth it. Callum, how are you today? Callum is in motion.
Yes, I'm just moving into a room that is more quiet. I could be worse. I'm pretty good. Yes, I can relate to that feeling as well of the pain, not of the vaccine, but of the I feel like I've become like the prophet of like the nose jab test actually really hurts. Like I don't know, like people say it doesn't hurt. It was a terrible experience for me. But,
oh man,
I was
traumatic.
COVID free. Yeah.
Good to hear. But today you're doing okay?
Today I'm doing just fine, thank
As
you.
long as we don't remind you of your vaccine experience, it's going to go okay.
It was
Okay?
really awful. Yeah, and they did both nostrils too, which I've apparently I don't know. That's not protocol. I think
That's a
that was
little
just like,
intense. No, okay,
yeah.
I know the one. Yeah, I know the test you're talking about. All right, so Miguel and Jeremy, welcome. So good to see you today. We're just doing a personal check-in here. So this is just human being to human being. How you guys are doing in this particular moment? You share as much or as little as you care to. So Miguel, how are you doing today? You're muted.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm doing good. It brings back memories to have you here teaching from our first year civ class. So it feels good. Yeah.
Excellent. Good to be back with you. And Jeremy, how are you today?
I'm doing great as well. Looking forward to it. I have no experience with LinkedIn, so I'm happy to see where it goes.
Excellent. No, that's great to hear. So wait, we got one more person coming in. Okay. So just going to see if we're going to do a check-in with Jamie. Hello, Jamie, are you there? We got Leah too. Jamie, are you there?
Yep.
Do you mind turn? No, it's good. Hi, good to hear your voice. Is it okay if I ask you to turn on your video for at least just for a few moments, just for the check-in?
Yeah.
Hey, good to see you again.
Hey.
So we're just checking in right now. So just how are you doing today in this moment as a human being on planet Earth?
It's going all right. Classes are over, so I'm just sort of adjusting to the new normal. Oh yeah, it feels great. I started reading a new book. Enough.
Oh, that's a great one. Excellent choice.
Yeah. Oh well, it was a recommendation, so.
Yes. Well, I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah. No, I like it so far.
Excellent. Leah, how are you? Leah, can you hear me? Are you there? You never know what's happening behind the name. You just don't know. So, well, Leah, no problem. Okay, so Leo, if you ever get a chance where you're out of the metro and have a better connection, we'd love to see your face, even if it's only for 10 seconds. And you can participate just as well as you're able to. We're very happy to have you with us. And we've got one more person joining. Of course, it's Anaïs joining late. She was always on time in class. Anaïs, how are you?
Hello, I'm so sorry I couldn't find the Zoom link. I was so lost. My bad.
The story of our lives these days, right? You've got 17 Zoom link. If you just search for Zoom link in your inbox, that's not the way to go.
No.
Yes. How are you today?
Very well, very well. How are you?
Doing pretty well, actually. I feel pretty good. There was some blue sky this morning, which is always a big plus for me. So I've got the agenda here to get started, but let me guys just give you the short version of the agenda, which I'm just going to drop into the chat. So the purpose of the meeting today, here's what we're going to cover. The purpose is to give you guys not really an overview of LinkedIn. You're all digital citizens. I'm sure you know more or less what LinkedIn is and can figure out sort of the overview for yourselves, but how to get you started. And the two things that I'm planning to sort of present to you are a few tips to help you feel like you know what you're doing. And the goal, of course, is to take you over that first hump so that you feel confident, that you actually know how to take steps 1 and maybe 2, and that you're actually able to do it in a way that will help you, will lead you to some early successes, which I think are important for building that sort of that elan that's necessary to do well. So I'm going to talk about 3 things. I'm going to talk about just a few things about building your profile. Now, of course, you guys can all sort of, how do I build a profile on Google, and you'll get the full list. I'm going to emphasize a few things, that's all. I'm going to talk about how to engage with the community. Community is a funny word to use on LinkedIn. It's the best one I could come up with. But how do you actually begin to talk to people on LinkedIn? It's a little bit, let's say, particular. It's not a natural environment. It's highly artificial. So how do you actually do it? And then thirdly, if you want to connect with somebody directly, how do you go about doing that? Because that always seems very intimidating to people. How do you reach out to somebody who's got this big professional title on LinkedIn and actually make a personal connection? Because that's theoretically what it's there for. So before I continue, I just want to say welcome to Sophia. Sophia, are you able to turn your camera on for just a moment? Hello, Sophia. And we did a little check-in earlier, just as human being to human being. So if we could just ask you how you are today, and just tell us as much or as little as you like. Is it an excellent Wednesday, a not so great Wednesday, a tired afternoon? How are you doing today?
Oh gosh, this is a really difficult question to answer.
The pandemic made it so difficult.
Yeah, I'm just feeling super sluggish, and I almost forgot that this was happening at 2 o'clock. I thought it was at 3 for some reason, so I'm sorry I was late.
No worries. We're so glad that you were able to join us. Okay, so here is the icebreaker. So I like to do these at the beginning of a meeting to sort of check in with people and see where they're at. And it's especially good for when we're all coming from different places. I would like you to do 2 things. I'd like you to type out the institution that you have studied at. So most of us here should be liberal arts students. That's my expectation. So if you're at the Liberal Arts College at Concordia, if you just type that into the chat, please, that would be very much appreciated. Just to get a sense of where people are. McGill Liberal Arts College of Concordia, the LAC again. Cool, LAC. Liberal Arts and Communication, very cool. McGill Liberal Arts. See here, that's almost everybody. Jeremy, have you put in yet? Coming up?
Yeah, I did it first, actually.
You did it first. Oh, you were
Maybe
fast.
why,
Okay. Oh, yeah, cool. Excellent. Okay. Now, for the icebreaker, I'd like you to think for a moment, and I'd like you to think of a word or a phrase that you associate with LinkedIn. Type it in, but don't hit enter. All right, Jamie, however you did that, the McGill, like you're gonna have to teach me how to do this, because I need my emojis on Zoom, and it's kind of bothering me that I don't have them. But okay, so think of a word or a phrase. It can be anything from, something, it makes me anxious when I think about it. It makes me excited. I'm curious about it. I'm angry that they're a monopoly. Whatever stuff you have going on. Okay, I'm going to put mine in. Okay, I got mine. Everyone ready? Yannick, you got a question?
Yeah, do you mind repeating? I don't know why, but my computer just kind of like muted you for a second there, so I just missed the prompt.
That's a smart computer. You keep that one. Anything that will mute you professors without asking when they're just going on and on is definitely worth keeping. Your one word or phrase, even a little sentence that you associate with LinkedIn. Something that captures, I'm really looking for feelings more than anything else, but we're all kind of nerds here, so we're probably going to over intellectualize a little bit, which is fine. Okay, Miguel's already jumping in. Let's just go ahead. Everyone go. Tocqueville, that's an awesome answer. I don't even know what to, that's like, I haven't had enough drinks for that answer. Cold Corporation, yes, excellent. Yes, yes, yes. Excellent. Okay, that about sums it up. I guess if we took all of these together, that would about sum up my personal take on it. So let's go ahead and get started with figuring out what to do with this crazy thing. Now, I had built a slide, but I'll just share it with you instead. So according to, I don't know if you guys know what, what's it called? What color is your parachute? But there's a statistic that's been rolling around, and it's still true today, which is that 70% of the jobs that go, that are open and available never get posted. They never get, there's no advertisement at all that they exist beyond sort of word of mouth. So I want you to pause and think about that, and think, who here is, you guys have looked at LinkedIn, Indeed, or like one of these job sites. They're huge, right? That's no more than 30%. All of those put together is no more than 30%. How do you find the jobs that are hidden? And the only answer is networking. You have to meet the people who know about them. So that's why I think it's important. And since we've moved online, this is why I think it's super important for us. And then I do want to show you one slide, just because I think it's kind of funny. So let me share my screen real quick. Okay, is everyone seeing this? Give me a thumbs up if you guys can see this. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Okay, so there's the second part here, which is, this is the other problem that we have, I think, with liberal arts, is when we say liberal arts, we all kind of think we know what we're talking about. We think we mean this, right? The rest of the world hears this. They have no clue what we're talking about when we say, hey, we're a liberal arts grad. They think, somehow Justin Trudeau and Vincent van Gogh had some sort of love child at some point. And okay, now we're in a space that we don't know where we are anymore. I'm going to show you really quickly that this is not actually a problem. First of all, nobody cares what your degree was in once you get past university or in graduate school. And more importantly, it gives you skills that are really important for LinkedIn. And so this is what I'd like you to spend 2 minutes doing. I'd like you to take your dream job, and I want you to turn it into approximately, and you can make it up. And I mean, like really like full out. Anais, I'm counting on you. Anais does improv, so I'm kind of counting on her to be funny here. Okay, so the pressure's on. Yeah, Anais is like, no, there's no way. So those of you who have pen and paper, go ahead and take pen and paper. Those of you who are working with like a notepad on the computer, go ahead and do a notepad. And the title can be anything that you want. It can be Grand Pumbaa or, badass video game designer, whatever it is that you want. I've got my paper ready here. Let's see here. I'm going to go with, yeah.
So Professor Powers, it could be fantasy, like it doesn't have to be realistic, right?
As long as you genuinely would want the job. So the other, like one that you would personally want. One of my other sort of ideas for this was like, take something that you really like doing and you wish you got paid for, and turn it into a job. So I had this one where I was going to be like a professional reader. I didn't like that one so much, but this is the idea. And then the company name can be, sort of, again, whatever you want. And then the core task and responsibility. All right, I got mine. Okay. So either give me a thumbs up if you're done, or like 1, 2 more minutes if you need 1 or 2 more minutes. Show me you got 1 or 2 more minutes. Amber, you got this? David, you're good? Amber's good. David's good. Okay, I want to know who put astronaut, because that's definitely going to be the best answer for sure. Okay, is everyone ready? Everyone who needs a wait, give me a wait. I think we're ready. Okay. Duncan, you ready? You need a wait. Just hit the space bar and talk. What?
Yeah, no, I'm not ready. I have a lot of trouble with this sort of thing.
Okay. So then instead of coming up with the title, just come up with the core task or responsibility.
Okay.
Just that. And it can be like for, professor or scientist, or it doesn't have to be anything in particular. And it's also, most of us in the liberal arts, I know you guys all have 6 things that you like to do and are good at. You do not have to mix all of them into like a Voltron career choice. Like you can just choose one that you have, and that's cool. All right. So Duncan, we're going to move ahead, but don't worry, it's not like we're going to rush here. All right. Now, imagine that dream job is like a trajectory. It's like the climax of the story, right? But you need to write the next chapter. What's the next chapter? So what's a job? And it can be realistic is, and this is the word that's hardest here on the page. Don't be too realistic. You can dream. It can be an internship that doesn't actually exist, but something that you think is kind of, yeah, I could kind of do that. I could kind of see myself having that. This pen doesn't work anymore. Okay, I'm doing it too. Okay. Be quick and dirty. I know we're a group that likes to take our time and complain about how hard we're working when we take our time. Write fast. Make it a messy first draft. Okay. Duncan, are you like ordering Uber or something? No, he's writing. Okay. Okay. So I need to do a quick check on my. Okay. Are you guys still seeing the presentation? You see the yellow brick road? Okay, so the city of Oz is where you're going, the yellow brick road. This is what you have to start on. All right, anyone need 30 more seconds? We're good? Show me thumbs up if you're good. Getting a lot of thumbs up here. Okay. Here's the secret sauce for LinkedIn. This is it. It's not about what you have achieved. It's about the story that you're currently a part of. Now, you'll see a lot of consultants, and there are a lot of consultants who are very active on LinkedIn. Obviously, they're using it to sort of connect to people and build their business, right? They talk about their achievements. The story that they're a part of is, I'm an awesome free agent, come and make me a part of your team. But I'm going to show you in just a second that it doesn't have to, that's not the story that you have to tell. That's just one of the most common because of what LinkedIn is. But it's not at all that LinkedIn is. Okay, so everyone has this point, right? You have this idea of story. All right, so let me stop that for a second. What I'm going to show you are some actual, I hope Teresa is able to do it. Okay, Leah's got like her camera turned around, is like showing us her, this is awesome.
I'm trying to show the Eiffel Tower, but it doesn't really work.
Can't quite see it. Julie said, awesome. We got the Eiffel Tower. And like, what does the Eiffel Tower want to be when it grows up? As this is now the question we need to answer. Okay, so I'm going to show you some actual profiles in my network. And I'm going to talk about the pieces that they use. So let's, hello. Okay, so share. Okay, so this is my profile. Everyone can see my profile? Okay, so I'm only going to talk about 4. There are lots of different parts of a profile. I'm going to talk about 4 parts. The first part I'm going to talk about are the photos. Obviously, choose a photo that's you, that's a version of you that you're comfortable with, right? This part is kind of obvious to you. Have a photo if you have a LinkedIn profile. It's just like Facebook. If you don't have a photo, it's creepy. Don't be creepy. That's not going to help you with your networking or getting hired. And then the banner. And you see a lot of people choose, and it's perfectly okay to choose a banner like Christine has chosen here with the, like if that's what she wants to show. I think it's another opportunity to tell a little bit of your story. So I use Canva to create this little thing. I'm a words person, so I don't mind having extra words in my profile. But you see how I'm using this to tell a story about who I am and what kind of a teacher I am? Okay. The next part is called the headline. The headline is the part that's right below your name. And I want you to look at how Christine is using it. She's not putting this is not her job title. Can you guys see this? Is it big enough? You want me to blow it up a little bit? Does anybody here have like super nearsighted and need me to do it? Leah, can you see that? You're on your phone, Leah. Should I just read this for you? Okay, so I'm just going to read it out loud for Leah. So Christine's profile says, optimistic contrarian, into education, branding, and using scientific thinking to grow ideas and build communities. Trying to keep LinkedIn authentic. Always happy to connect. Just let me know how our paths cross. This tells you a lot about her, right? And about her story, about where she is. It actually doesn't tell you what profession she is. She's a teacher, as it happens. Okay. Next is the about section. A lot of people will put things. Christine here has, I'm a behavioral scientist teaching brand strategy at a Challenger university. So this is her professional, so on and so forth. This is all very good. A lot of consultants put all of their accomplishments in here. Big long list of all the awesome things. Worked for Fortune 500 companies with which I'll tell you right now means that they may have had, they did $200 of work for a Fortune 500 company, and now they get to put that on their profile. So don't be too impressed by all that. So here's my friend Stefan, who is a teacher in Ontario. Stefan is a beautiful storyteller, and I want you to look at this and I'm going to read it out loud again for Leah so that you guys can feel about the story that he's telling about the kind of teaching that he does. Teaching well has meant becoming adept at showing people things they know but do not really see. Configuring metaphors and context to allow people to look and look again at what they had taken for granted as already understanding. When done well, is it amazing to see the veil lifting slowly off as a person uses her eyes, seemingly for the first time. This is the feeling that effective speakers and teachers gave me, is what I continually aspire to be better at doing. Does this make you want to be a teacher? Because it makes me want to be a teacher. This is actually pretty good writing. You'll notice that it's only, what, 4 sentences? This is going to take a while. This takes time to develop and to work out what you're going to put in this. But I'm trying to show you that there are options for people like us, for people who are nerdy and have lots of interests and like to express ideas, who use metaphorical language and enjoy that sort of thing. There's plenty of room for us here. And then the last bit is I'm going to show you how most people that ever look at your profile won't get down to your experiences. But I want to show you a trick that I think is just brilliant from my friend Megan. Now, Megan is a career counselor. She's a student success advocate. She's the kind of person who helps students, sort of take the next step forward in their careers. She's got a lot of impressive experience, I want you to look at this little aide à domicile here. She has this little 5-month position. She doesn't have to include this, right? You choose what's included on LinkedIn and what's not included. And I'm going to read again for Leah out loud what she says as a description of this position. It's not a bullet point, like here are my responsibilities. Improved French language skills through paid employment in Lyon, France. Provided attentive, person-centered in-home support to the elderly and people living with disabilities. I want you to think about this, how this fits into the story of a person who just moved to Montreal. So she grew up in Saskatchewan. That's where she went to university, got her first job. Think about how it plays in Montreal to tell a story about moving to France to improve your language skills. She's telling a story to people about why she took that job. You guys see how she's doing this? It's exceptionally clever. It's very effective. I actually took a position and moved to France so that I could speak French and be in Montreal. I think this is astoundingly effective. I don't include any of my positions that I had for 5 months, and she's done it here in a, sort of amazingly effective way. Okay, I'm going to pause for a second here. Leah wants it to be destroyed. Yes, Leah, we're gonna totally do there's a Death Star scene where we destroy LinkedIn with a single shot at the end of this presentation. It's coming, so you got to hang in there. Okay, are there any questions at this point about this idea of how to tell a story? I gave you a couple of ideas. Does it make you feel like maybe, don't be sorry, Leah, I thought it was really funny. Are there any questions at this point? No? No? Okay. So let's see. This is weird switching between all these different ways of screen sharing, but I want you to get the points visually. Come on now. So the second part is how to engage with your network or how to engage with the community. The key thing, in my view, when you engage is visibility. If you hide on LinkedIn, you're misunderstanding the point of the platform. The point is to be visible. I actually think it's great for introverts. I grew up as an introvert. I was very painfully introverted. And so figuring out how to be visible in a way that feels authentic was really hard for me. This, however, is extremely important. Okay, everyone's got this point. You kind of wrote it down. All right. So the 2 points that I have on this are how to use the follow feature and how to comment appropriately. And this is where I think liberal arts people really have a big advantage. So I'm going to show you again we're actually going to do this in real time. I'm going to show you if I can close these. Okay. Here's a company that I am really interested in that I just found out. Hello, Leah. That I just found out about today from a friend of mine. And what they do is they are a company that was founded by Coursera, some of Coursera's founders. For those of you who don't know what that is, you can look it up later. This is a company that is building a new, instead of Zoom, a new platform for people to collaborate online. So specifically with students in mind. So the kinds of seminars that we do, they're building a platform for that. Okay, so this is something that I think is really cool. So everyone see the follow button here? When you follow, that means that their stuff will appear in your feed. Okay, now here's the real special sauce here. Once you have a company that you think is really cool, and it can be anything from the David Suzuki Foundation, anything that's on LinkedIn, you get here, you see down here, it says you can look at jobs and so on and so forth, which is cool. But it'll show you the people that are involved too. Okay. Daphne Kohler, she's one of the co-founders of Coursera. Now, I can offer a connection, but she doesn't know me from Adam, and I don't know anything about her, so it's a little bit premature, but this I can do. You see where it says more and it says follow? She'll see that I've done that. This makes me visible to her in a way that I wasn't 30 seconds ago. A lot of people, when they see this, will follow you back. And it's like, it's kind of like before you connect. It's kind of like pre-connection. It's like dating before you decide that you want to get married. Okay, that was a little strong as a metaphor for LinkedIn. I don't know what it's like. We're gonna have to think about that one. Okay, this is a super useful tool if you're sort of like, I'm not sure, I feel comfortable reaching out to them. You can follow them and see what happens. All right, and now the place where you're linked, your liberal arts training is going to really make you shine, I think, on LinkedIn, which is I'm going to show you. So that was real, by the way. That just happened. I actually literally just followed her. I am interested in connecting with her. She knows. So Karen Sachs is actually a woman that I went to high school with, as it turns out. Karen's a scientist now. She's cool. Okay, here's another person that I'm interested in right now. As sort of a thought leader on LinkedIn, this guy, Trevor. Now, Trevor, I've looked at his profile. He has a bunch of stuff that is interesting for me. He seems to be an educator. So you can see him here for the Sustainable Learning Projects. He's an educator in sustainability, which is a major interest of mine. I kind of grew up with that. So this is somebody that I think is really cool and interesting. He's written this kind of gloss for this article. You guys have seen this on social media, right? Somebody posts an article and writes their own little gloss on it. I read the gloss, then I read the article. And this, I have this all prepared. I'm going to read it aloud for Leah.
I'm on my computer now, so you don't have to read it.
Oh, excellent, good. Well, I'm going to, might read it anyways. Hello. Can I not tag him? Some people don't let themselves be tagged.
It's Soponis, S-O.
That's why it's screwing up. Thank you. All right. Anyways, I would normally tag him. The tagging is sort of like the same thing in Facebook, right? It draws somebody's attention. It's a little bit like a shout out across the room, which can be annoying. Some people turn it off. I'm going to read it out now. Thank you for sharing, Travis. Exclamation point, by the way. I know those of you who've had me as a writing instructor said no exclamation points, but they're okay in the real world. I agree completely. And then I quote him. Student wellness, educator wellness, and contribution to real problems are far better measures of success than, and I quote him again, money, power, and prestige. Quoting him actually shows that I've read what he said, what he wrote. Duncan, is that a question?
Yes,
Brian,
it's sorry, it's Brian.
Hi, Brian.
Hi, it's Trevor, not Travis. That's why it's not tagging it.
You guys have got me. Oh, I'm totally. If I didn't have you, look at that. Okay, there we go. All right. You guys are all like, this guy is not serious. He doesn't even know how to spell Travis.
No, I was just super worried you're about to send it in front of our eyes. And then...
No, it's okay. Well, I was going to get there. I'm glad you guys corrected me. As far as straight up educational goals go, knowledge, skills, and subject-specific understanding are relatively straightforward to measure. That's my experience as a teacher. In my experience, however, broad understanding how knowledge, skills, and insights fit into a global context is not. This is what we do in the liberal arts. We actually look at the global context. We look at big problems and come at them from 7 different angles, from art history, from philosophy, from anthropology, and try to make sense of them. This is not easy to measure. How successful are we at the liberal? You guys would all say that you're getting some kind of useful education in liberal arts, but it's very hard to quantify or to say what it is. Yet this kind of understanding is precisely what conduces. I used a fancy word deliberately. This is a nerdy word that I use deliberately to let him know that I'm a nerd. And I'm not afraid to let that hang out there. I'm not trying to like businessify it or make it super simple. I'm trying to be just a version of myself, and I'm a nerd. This conduces to superior professional and personal outcomes. Does anybody have any ideas about which indicators we can use to measure this kind of global or universal understanding? You guys know what it's like out there in social media where you put stuff up and nobody actually responds. And that sucks. You know what sucks even worse? Putting something up and the only response you get are likes. That sucks, especially if you're putting up something that is like, here's an art piece that I did, and you photograph it and put it up on Instagram. The only response you get are like, as opposed to somebody actually engaging with what you have put together. This is genuine engagement. You guys have been trained to do exactly this. This will make you stand out like nothing else. You can do this without having to improvise with a cocktail in your hand. So it's not like one of these networking events. You can take your time and compose it. You can link to other people. So if there's somebody else's ideas that you think are, you can link to 2 different people. I've done this, right? So you're showing how somebody else's ideas are working through the ecosystem. You think this doesn't get people's attention? I want you to think what it would be like if you wrote an article and then somebody wrote this in response, quoted it, thought about it, and came back with something considered. This is fairly badass. And I have gotten more connections doing this sort of thing than any, I have gotten 120 connections in the past 30 days because I've been kind of fiending on LinkedIn. But this is what I do, and this is what works. Okay, you guys ready? Now it's going live, so thank God we got it to be Trevor and not Travis. Okay, we should make that into a drinking game. Trevor, not Travis, is now an official drinking game at the LAC and at McGill. Let's see what happens. Okay. That's how you engage. And it is made for introverted liberal arts people. It's made for it. It is the best possible thing for us. All right, that is that. Okay. Now I'm going to show you how to connect directly. So let's say that this all is going well. You're feeling pretty good about somebody. You want to connect directly. Trying to show you a message that I sent. It's weird. Okay. I had everything queued up and now it's just all gone haywire. Okay, we'll just go with Jess's. there are three things that you need when you connect directly. The first and the most important is context. If people remember where they met you, they'll accept the connection. It's like a business card. If you do a business card exchange at a big networking event, people know that what they're there to do is network. People understand that they're on LinkedIn to network. It's usually not a deal, but they need to understand why you're reaching out or what's the context of your reaching out. So in this particular instance, I reached out to Jess because I spoke with a friend of hers who recommended. So can everyone read this? So here's the message, 200 characters or fewer. Hello, Jess. I just connected with Nina Palovska, who closed our conversation with the suggestion that I reach out to you. That's context. The second thing is purpose. I absolutely love INBO. That's her company. Her INBO is Insouciant Voice and Flair. There's that nerdy word again. And I would love to hear more about your take on teaching and learning. That's the purpose of my reaching out. Because everyone's asking, why are you contacting me? I want to hear more about your thinking on X. I want to hear more about the company. I want to hear more about your work on. That's the most common reason to reach out. And then finally, the call to action. You always need a call to action when you reach out to somebody who has a lot on their plate. Hope we can connect. Would you please press the button and accept the connection? That's what I'm asking. These are the three ingredients that you need in any request. And if I can just find James here, you know what, I'll just do it this way. So James works at a company that I would love to work at. I did exactly what I said I did. I commented on a blog post that he wrote very substantially. He read it. He accepted the connection. Then I wrote this. Hello, James. I'm always delighted to be in touch with other philosophy people. You're thinking on epistemology. That's what he wrote about. I looked him up. That's what he actually does. He did philosophy of mind when he was a sort of a professional academic. Would seem to bear interestingly on Minerva School's approach. I'd love to hear more. I try to make it my practice to know everyone in my LinkedIn network personally, at least a little bit. Might you have 30 minutes to meet? This is an informational interview that I just requested. And it worked. Got the connection, got the meeting. Okay. You always have to do, you guys are going to learn how to do this with your own voices, obviously. But that's the secret recipe. Miguel, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. It's like, it's good sometimes to have diversity, but I think sometimes it could be harmful as well. Like for me, for instance, I have a part of me that's like in philosophy and liberal arts, and another part of me that's in wedding entertainment. So yep. my question here is, would it be possible to make 2 accounts?
The easiest way, what I would recommend for you is that you do your account, your personal account should reflect both, but you should start a business, a company account for the business that you run. And you should run connections through your business through that. But when you run your own business, yeah, you can have more than one business set up, more than one company. Yes.
So you could do it with a business name, like the business name itself ends up connecting.
Yeah.
So it's not actually a person.
That's right. And you know, again, you have to kind of feel that out a little bit, but that's how I would say think about doing it at first and see what happens. But if people are reaching out and are, you know, if you're having like issues where you feel that people are confused about who you are, then you can reshape your profiles to help smooth that out. But it is okay that we're complicated. You know, people can have lots of different things going on in their lives, and that's fine. Callum. Okay, so Callum, who are you with? I know Brian now, and I know Amber, but Callum, who are you with?
Introduce yourself.
My name is Alana Dennis. I am also a student at the LIC. I'm in my first year. I'm in Jeremy's class, Diego's class, Sophia's class.
Very cool. So you said your name is, did I get Alana?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alana. not my
Alanis.
business. Alana.
Got it. Okay. So yes, question, please.
Okay, so I'm not normally shy or even intimidated, but there's been a few times in the before COVID that I received some business cards from people that I met in person that like we just happened to make a connection naturally, and then they were like, oh, here, take my business card, I really like blah 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 that you talked about. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then I'll like put it away, and then they'll be like, just email me about anything, and I'm like, okay, thanks. And then but I don't like I don't really know where to go from there. I don't want to tell them like what was in my oatmeal this morning. I don't want to ask them for a job. I guess I could try to look them up on LinkedIn and connect with them there. But yeah, like
yes, I would definitely recommend that. Yep.
I don't really know what to do with that.
Yes, well, you have picked, in terms of sharing oatmeal content and asking for a job, you've picked two pretty low quality ways to come at a person. So let's find a better third option. Best third option is ask them about what they're passionate about. You would not believe, like I'm not a car person, but I recognize that cars are inherently interesting. And the evidence for this is that there's a group of people who are just passionate about them. I doubt I will ever be one of their number, but it seems inescapable to me that if I were to listen to somebody talk about what they know a lot about and are passionate about, I will learn something. So figure out when somebody says, I'm, like, here's a card, I was so curious, I'm really keen on what you talk. A great question you can always come back with is, what are you working on now that you're really excited about? What's the most exciting thing that you're working on now? And when you reach out to them on LinkedIn, you just sort of say, we met at, give them the context. I'd love to hear more about, you mentioned your garden. I'd love to hear more about some of your thinking about there. That's very interesting to me. I'm interested in sustainability, and I'm wondering if there's a connection. Love to connect. And then you ask for a half an hour of their time to talk about that. And you see what connections that they have. And one of the things that you need to be ready for is that they should ask you, and you should be ready to say, what's your story? And you talk about your 90-second pitch about, that's your City of Oz, right? I'm really interested in video game development, and I'm particularly interested in cooperative games that are going to help people think in a way that will inform sustainability. Whoa, that's kind of interesting. That allows people to help you. Hey, I know somebody at Ubisoft. You could talk to that person. I know this really cool person running a nonprofit out in the Eastern Townships that does some really interesting stuff on sustainability. Maybe you should talk to her. Right? So get them to talk about their passions and talk about your own in a way that shows a story arc, right? So that they can help you take next steps, even if they're clumsy about it. Usually people are trying to help. Does that help a little bit? Honestly, I kind of find the oatmeal question too. I'm a big oatmeal person. It's a subject of hot debate in our house between our two sons. So I'm a little bit curious about that now, but maybe another time. Jeremy, you have a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to know from your personal experience, is it always better to be super specific about what you're interested in, or just be more general?
Yeah, so before I answer that question, Anais just had to go. So I just want to mention one thing here. Oh, Anais? Oh no, Yannick had to go. Yeah.
Goodbye to Yannick.
Yeah, so you were saying goodbye. Okay, so one thing, the only thing I'm asking, this is completely free, but the only thing I'm going to ask you is I'd like to send everybody here a, what's it called? A survey at the end to ask for feedback on it. Because I'm going to offer it again, and there are other people who I think would be interested as well. So if I could just have that as sort of quote unquote payment for this, I'd really appreciate it. Is that okay with everybody if I just ask for feedback? Okay, great. So Jeremy, your question, it's important to be specific. And so you have to choose the part of your story that you think this person can help you with. And it's not a lie to only tell part of your story. And I want you to sort of, so here, if you want to hear my range of interest, I want you to think, so I'm interested in AI. I have this, longstanding interest in teaching, obviously, but sustainability is a big one. I did a degree in architecture. I took this course in art that was really interesting to me. Do you have any ideas about how I could take a step forward? And the answer is no, because you're kind of going in all directions, you're a dog chasing your tail at this. Every human being is like this. We have a rich set of interests, but people can only help if they feel like we have direction, because then they can help us go further in that direction. So you're telling the shortened or the kind of truncated version of the story in order to get help from a person. Yeah, once you have your third or fourth meeting, all the other interests begin to come onto the table and you begin to get a real sense of the person, and that's fine. Are there other questions? Yeah, Miguel.
Yeah, that might be a little basic, but I'm wondering, let's say you don't know anybody on LinkedIn, and
you know me, so that's a lie. Dude, you're gonna play me like that? You're gonna pretend this is just for the sake of argument?
So my question is, how does the algorithm make sure that it connects you? Does it do it automatically as soon as it sees your area, your interests? It automatically sends you people that are in the same area with the same interests, or you really have to do it? How does it work?
It's mainly you upload, you agree to upload your Gmail, contact list, and it tries to match as best it can. It does suggest people that you might know, and it seems to do this on a combination of things that you're interested in, connections that you have in common, places that you went to McGill at the same time as somebody else. You went to Concordia at the same time as, so it's a little boneheaded the way the algorithms tend to be, but it has come up with it has surfaced a couple of opportunities for me. I don't really pay that much attention to its suggestions though. Once you get beyond 100 people or so, really, it becomes possible to, people who know people, and the question about drawing people in, yeah. Other questions? Yes, Duncan.
I guess I'd be curious a little bit, because I remember you saying that it's okay to be on LinkedIn as a student. But I guess I'd be curious specifically as to how one should or could present themselves as a student. Because I know, obviously you mentioned that people probably won't scroll down the page far enough to see your actual jobs, but I'm curious as to what you would be presenting as a student on LinkedIn, just your interests, I suppose. But
yeah, interests are key. There's no substitute for enthusiasm. So things that you can be enthusiastic about are key. So I mentioned sustainability, and it's I could put that anywhere on my profile and have no problem with anybody reaching out in any part of sustainability from technology, because I'm enthusiastic about it, which means that I don't need to share my expertise. What I need to share is my enthusiasm and curiosity. Tell me more about this really cool technology that you have for cleaning, sort of river waters. I don't know the first thing about any of this, but it sure sounds awesome. And it's a cause I care about a lot. So you definitely, you have to be, if you're a student, you're a student. There's no shame in being a student. The key is there are a lot of people out there who are looking for people like you. It's a little bit like a dating site. We keep coming back to these dating analogies. We have to find something else. It's like chocolate looking for peanut butter. I don't know. That seems like I'm going in the wrong direction. But there are people out there looking. We need some enthusiastic students who, for these internships that we have. That is real. That is real. And if you trust me, I've hired people. The first thing I do is look them up on LinkedIn. What? You're crazy. Somebody applies for a job, you Google them. If you're interested, you Google them, and their LinkedIn profile should come right up, and it should support the job application that they've just made. And I don't mean support it like everything has to line up exactly. I mean, I should find a profile of a person who has interest that, you know, at least one of the interests corresponds. You know, somebody who's, I don't know, an engineering student and they love video games and AI, but they've applied for something at the Jardin Botanique, at the Insectarium, to be a guide for children who are going to eat insects. I'm like I don't see the pedagogical. I don't see the love of kids. I don't like. You see what I mean? That's what I'm looking for if I'm hiring. Just that the interests align. There's a basic kind of congruence there. Again, telling a story. Oh, come on, Jamie. Don't be like that.
No, I'm serious. That's, I don't know. I was just thinking peanut butter and jam. Yeah, sure. But I'm sorry. I seem to, this is like big offense here.
Anais is totally giving you the survey says, you know.
Oh no, yes, unpopular opinion.
Okay, any other questions? No, it's good. Okay, so 2 first steps. I have made sure, so Callum, this is on you. Have you set up the LAS on LinkedIn yet?
No, I have not.
Okay, so LAPSA is ahead of you. So McGill is ahead of you right
Oh,
now.
no,
You're gonna have to catch up.
Terrible.
So the first thing that you can do, all of you, I'll remember you, connect to me. My network is big and growing, so you'll automatically know a whole bunch of people. And you can connect immediately to LAPSA and LAS's. I have your firm commitment.
It's coming next. Yeah, really.
Okay, and like Boy Scout honor, like, can we at least?
I'm not a Boy Scout, but yeah, I'm right there. Yeah.
Okay, so and then you can connect to your home institution's organization, like, and precisely the vision here is that we are going to get. I'm going to be encouraging Matteo and Ariella to reach out to the alumni. It should be easy to connect to alumni in your organization. It should be much easier than it is. And we're going to work on that this next year. You guys should have a lot of interesting people to talk to about what liberal arts does for you and what comes next, because you guys have a lot of options, truly. That's the hardest part about being a liberal arts person. There are too many options. It's overwhelming. Duncan?
So I was wondering, we've had a lot of interesting alumni talks already, but it was from a separate branch of the LAS.
Yeah.
Should we and I think I've accidentally made a liberal arts curatorial committee LinkedIn, trying to research I know I kept it a secret, but trying to research one of the persons we're interviewing. And
dude, are you spying with LinkedIn?
I was spying. I was lurking. Oh,
lurking. Okay, which is like spying, only a little creepier.
Only slimier and digitally. And and I'm wondering, should we? What do you think is best? As would it just be better to have one LAS?
That's up to you. I kind of think one is perfectly sufficient, but it's up to you guys how you sort of organize it. And to be honest, most of the time there's when you scope like that, I actually find the openly approaching people are very flattered to be asked to participate in this sort of thing.
Is preferable to lurking.
A little bit of lurking is a good thing because you get to see who you might ask, but sort of get to that point where you're asking people fast. It's nice, but it's very flattering to be asked to something like that. And don't underestimate the power of that. Other questions? These are great questions. Yeah, Anais.
How do you announce your victories on LinkedIn? Like, I started a new internship and now I'm like shy to let the world know. Is there a way to make it private, or am I supposed to be like, hello dear LinkedIn community, I am proud to announce? Yeah.
The standard MO seems to be the I am proud to announce. But I think what is important about that is, again, I look at like people who announce, you know, like I am humbled. Anybody who on LinkedIn says I am humbled to do something and then I'm going to trumpet it all over LinkedIn, one wonders how humble they really feel. I think I am proud is a little bit better because it's more realistic. But truthfully, if you want your network to be able to know where you are and to help you, it's okay to be forthright about where you are and what you're doing.
Okay.
So I am delighted. I am proud to announce that I will be doing such and such for the next several months. If anybody has connections or ideas about what the art world in Montreal could do, I am open to discussion. You know, set yourself up. Again, one of the big things is if you set yourself up as a listener, people respond. Asking questions is powerful. Showing that you've read something is powerful. Set yourself up as somebody who's actually going to pay attention.
Okay.
And people tend to respond.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I would tell people that, you know, where I'm working. You want them to know, hey, I had this cool idea about X and you're the person I thought of because I know you and I know that you're in the art world now. Totally, you want people to be thinking of you like that. That's an amazing success networking wise. Other questions? Leah is 6 hours ahead of us. So she is like, this is like late night seminaring. This is painful.
I've had my apéro before, so right now I'm just...
Oh, that's what it is too. All right. She's had 2 kirsch and a couple of snails. Is escargot one of my favorite things à Paris. All right. So you guys all have, if you haven't yet, I have email addresses at both. That's my Concordia one. That's my McGill one. You guys all know me now. This is a legitimate LinkedIn. When you do this, you get on LinkedIn. I attended your seminar. I had a, you know, I really enjoyed, you know, sort of the conversation. Love to be in touch. Done. Jeremy?
Yeah, I just had a quick question for you.
Yes.
How do I make sense of what is liberal arts for people that really don't know? That's just a personal experience. When I try to explain it, it falls short to what it is. So I just wanted to know, how would you go about explaining it and just making sense of it for others that really don't know?
Okay, so the short answer and the medium answer. The long answer, you guys each composed for yourselves, because the crazy thing about liberal arts is that each of us has had a unique experience with the sort of the course of studies, as it were. The short answer is it's close to the humanities, right? People think they know, tend to have a slightly better idea of what the humanities are than liberal arts. And the word that's coming forward these days, and which I'm writing about, is this word. And those of you who haven't yet, this is a book you can get. This is a guy, he's a consultant to like Ford Motor Company in New York. He's an anthropologist philosopher, and he uses exactly those disciplines to consult. So that's a word that you can use. And the idea is that what we do is, and what we're good at is, we're trained in more than one discipline. And what we are able to do is to look at situations, we put things in context. And it's good to have an example here. So a good example, I'll use one of Madsberg's examples, is if you're the Ford Motor Company and you're selling cars all over the world, you have to understand how the cultural context in India is different from the cultural context in Detroit. Now, I don't necessarily know what that context is because I haven't studied it, but I know how to go about figuring out what it is. I can ask the right questions. You can ask me to read the literature of the Indian subcontinent, and I'll come away with a sense of what's important in the world, because I know how to analyze literature, right? I can ask people philosophical, tell me about, like how the culture handles death. And, I can ask philosophical questions and come away with and write a report on what this culture thinks about and how it matters. And can I connect it to the experience of being a car owner? Damn Skippy, no question. Yes, I would have to think about it, but that's what I do. I can think about that sort of thing. That's the short answer. The longer answer is that the liberal arts, the reason why they're called the liberal arts is because they're the opposite of the servile arts. Yeah, literally. I'm not kidding. Thomas Aquinas. And that particular idea is that these are the arts or the skills or the disciplines which are suitable for free people. And not just free people like politically free, but in the moments of their freedom, when they are at leisure, when they don't have anything else to do and for no other reason than itself. Philosophy, history, the word history, those of you guys remember this from the class? Historia, it means inquiry. That's what the Greek word means. To sit there and think and wonder and ask questions, that's suitable for humans in their free time. That's why it's called the liberal arts, which is why we're good at the big picture. That's what we think about is the big picture. Does that help a little bit? I do find that my slide of Justin Trudeau and Vincent van Gogh helps a little bit at this. People remember that. Anais, you're smirking. Yeah.
I just say that it's a mix of art history and literature because that's the stream I'm in. And then
That is perfectly fair.
yeah, and I always start by asking, excellent question. I don't know myself. And then bam.
Well, now you know a little bit more. So, and where's my other book? I think I left it in the other room. There's a book called, there's an essay, I'll type it here. The essay was written right after the Second World War, and it's an argument for why the liberal arts are important. And it's only 70 pages long, and it's easy to read. It's not super dense at all. I read it in an afternoon. This is where I found the Aquinas quote about servile arts, which I think is really cool. Okay. Any other questions? David, Amber, you guys have just been quiet there. I somehow I suspect you're laughing at us in a good way. Maybe laughing near us.
No, we're just enjoying. It's good.
Good.
It's been very helpful. I wrote a few things down.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear it. Duncan, Brian, you got another one?
Sorry, I'm
Don't be
afraid-
sorry.
Is this the last portion of the thing? So you disappear after this?
Yes.
Okay. So I guess I'll ask a small question, which is, in your profile, I saw you were interested in AI ethics.
Yeah.
And how did you pivot from a humanities domain into something that seems very hard skill oriented? Which is because it's a pivot that I'm very much interested in. I'm writing my undergraduate thesis on something that could be called like social epistemology and STS studies.
Yeah.
My specialization in my philosophy major is in philosophy of mind and philosophy of science. Like I do want to make the pivot, but I don't want to sound like a guy that doesn't know what he's talking about. And so how do I do that?
Get comfortable with the fact that you don't know what you're talking about, because you don't, and that's okay. People who don't know what they're talking about need to develop the skill of asking great questions. So that's my first advice, is just sharpen some of your questions about AI. So in your thinking, where are the questions? Like, what questions do you have about it? And it can be big. We are good at big picture. And so my pivot is this, is very simply, I think that we understand, everybody, humanity, or let's just say the people who are currently working on AI, understand the artificial part pretty well, at least as far as it goes. And that advances fairly straightforwardly. I don't think philosophers have the damnedest idea of what intelligence actually means. And it seems very clear that when they try to model intelligence in AI, they get everything wrong. Not that I have great hopes that they'll ever get most of it right, but the intelligence part seems very difficult. And it's the part that indeed they're struggling with right now. You know, remember they promised us cars that could drive themselves by 2020? Missed that deadline. I wish they had asked, they haven't even asked for an extension yet. So when Google calls and asks for the extension, we're going to be ready to say, okay, we'll give you that. Things that humans find easy, we tend to overlook. So it is unbelievable that humans can do this, right? Think about how many possible positions there are for a human hand. You just calculated how many, and reached out without thinking to grab something out of the air, like you catching somebody tosses you car keys and you just catch them. Robots cannot do this because they focus on the one thing, right? You've ever seen a robot like work on opening a door? They go like this. The stuff that's easy for us, we overlook how difficult it is for anybody else or anything else. And this is a very ordinary sort of sense of blindness, and it causes a huge set of AI ethics issues, which we've seen bias as one of the big ones that's emerging, and there are others on the way. So the answer to your question, which I think the others might find interesting, is if you're interested in pivot, go big. I assume that that's why we're in the liberal arts to begin with, is that none of us could be bothered to specialize. I hate specialization. It just drives me insane. So I'm really good at asking the questions that nobody else thinks are good to ask, but I'm usually not the one who's going to develop the technical answer to them because I don't have the expertise that's necessary. Is that helpful? Did that help?
Yeah, super duper, super duper. Okay, and if no one else has a question,
You can keep going, yeah.
Gonna finish. This is my last question. I feel like I've spoken.
No, you can go as far as Sophia's going to jump in here at one more. I can see one brewing right now. She's thinking about it.
Would it be in any? I was thinking to get cred. Like I know how a von Neumann model works, but to get hard skill cred, I was thinking like maybe like working as a web developer. Do you think? But does that add into the story kind of, and then I apply to like the Stanford Center for Humane Technologies or something like down the line in 3 years, 4 years?
Call them and ask. Is my just pick up so you guys we forget what the other side of the table looks like, and I want you to think about yourself as somebody running a highly sort of what you hope to be an ambitious and sort of high profile center that's going to train the next generation of people who are going to do AI. What's one of the things you're most worried about? Is anybody going to care? Is anybody going to apply to these positions that we've set up? Is anybody worthwhile going to do it? You have to see the other side of the equation. They need great applicants in order to do the great things that they want to do. It's hard to remember this because we're so used to being the part, we apply and they say yes or no. But withholding your application is pretty powerful. So call them and ask. Just literally look them up, write an email, say, I'd like to set up a call to talk about, I'm really interested in this. I'd like to know what I can do to improve my chances of entry in a couple of years. I'm really excited about this. I guarantee you're going to have somebody say, yeah, I'd be happy to talk to you for half an hour about that. Here's how you can improve your application. And then take your classes at MIT on AI or on, sort of web design. I think if that's what you want to do is fine. But I would get nitty gritty as quickly as possible. Study the cool stuff. Dive right in with 2 feet. We're great at that. I mean, shit, we read Hegel. You show me one programmer who can make sense of that shit, all right? Just one. Jeremy?
Yeah, to actually answer to Brian, I'm currently trying to learn code and trying to make sense of what AI is and try to do some of that on my own. And I think it's valuable to learn some of the technical part and hard skills, because it really helps to make sense of the limits and like what's actually doable and what's not currently, and all of that. I find that through learning the art skills, I've been much more my vision of things has been much better. And also for coding and AI and all of that, the online resources are awesome. So I'm sure he's gonna be able to learn all of that, or at least some part of it to make sense of it, because yeah, that's what I've been trying to do on my spare time.
I think that's great. And the technical skills part is important. I would recommend when you're ready, an organization like edX, which has some pretty good courses. So you can pay to get the certification. You can take it for free, or you can pay and get the certification, which will then appear on your LinkedIn profile. So my recommendation for this sort of thing is hack around as much as you want on your own. I think that's a great way to learn. When you feel like you're ready to take a step in that direction that's a little more committed, you have two options. One is to do something on your own that you can point to. I did this project. And it can be anything from, there was a volunteer or something, or there was the Center for AI Ethics. There's a big one in Montreal, actually, maybe 2 or 3 even. You can contact, if they have a program where they're, we're going to ask a bunch of people to do a contest for it, like you enter the contest. I built this project, like you just do something, you just do it, even if it sucks. And then the second thing is that you take a course that can get, you can put a pin in it, like the edX course, right? And that allows you to say, not only can I say in my profile, I'm interested in AI, here's the stuff that I've done that backs it up. So past tense verbs are very powerful in a job interview. I built something. Did it work? No, it didn't work, but I learned a lot. But you still built it. That's powerful. That shows commitment. Doesn't matter whether it worked or not. Other questions? And something not about AI ethics, which I fear we could talk about all day, but there are other really cool areas that we could talk about too. Yeah. Okay. So can I ask, oh, Callum, sure, question.
Here's a question. I'm curious, like, is connecting with people like on LinkedIn, is that like is there, I don't know, like, can you reach out to anyone? Is there some limitation on, like, you have to have some mutual connections? Is it worth just messaging someone whom is interesting to you, but you have no kind of basis for a relationship past a mutual interest?
It is okay to do that. And I've met people who have said, got my advice that my father gave me, meet one new person a week. Not all of those are going to happen spontaneously. Some of those are going to be people reaching out to you, right? There are a lot of people out there who love meeting new people and who are eager to sort of have another cool person in their network. Some people won't respond. One of the worst things about being where you guys are, you guys know a lot of the best things, but one of the worst things is that you don't realize that your professors are not like other people. They are a minority. So Sophia, you guys don't realize most other people are out there. They're extrovert, like we're introverts. They love meeting new people. It's the coolest thing ever. Like your palms are sweaty, they get excited. we have to be careful about norming ourselves and thinking that everybody else out there is as nervous about meeting somebody new as we are. Most of them are not. I don't know if you guys have seen the numbers on like introvert extrovert, but it's about, I think it's like a, what is it, like a 70-30 split. Most people are extroverts. So I have not had a response from everybody that I've reached out to, but I would say 80-90%. I get some traction with, you know, and usually it fizzles, right? You sort of, you have that first few exchanges and then it's like, yeah, we don't have that much in common. But I've probably made about 3 or 4 like proper friends, like people who I look forward to talking to every 2 or 3 weeks. Like it's fun. Miguel.
Yeah, I just want to say for my personal experience, like connecting as a DJ entertainer for my business, I built that business from scratch. It could be surprising giving how much that could return to you. For instance, people often think you have to connect in my business, for example, with the clients or big guys in the business or whatever. But I found that what worked most was I meet a person and I give him a contract. I don't even know that person. And most of the time when I did that, that person would come back, hey, that guy gave me a contract, and he'd give me another contract, and we keep exchanging balls like that further and further. And it's even better than meeting clients because you build a network of people that are DJs as well.
It's exactly like that. You just don't know who's out there. Sophia, is this your core question? Like how do I actually go about doing this in a way that feels authentic? So the answer is that I want you to think of 2 people that you consider really good friends. Right? In Canada, there are 33 million people. In the United States, 330 million people in the world. I want you to think about how many other people there are in the world who are a lot like those 2 people. It's a very small percentage, but it's a very large number. There are some awesome people out there. And the odds are actually pretty good. If you reach out to people with similar interests, your odds are pretty good of finding a few of them. They're really not that bad. The odds are not that bad. So that's, you know, like you think about how awesome the people are that you could meet, they're that awesome. They really are. So that helps me as an introvert. And then the other thing that helps me as an introvert is you only have to do it one at a time. That's what's great about LinkedIn. You don't have to walk into a room of 500 people and start handing out business cards. It's one at a time. That's much easier. Diego and Paula, I don't want to pressure you too much here, but is there a question that you guys have? I don't mind that you've been quiet, and we're going to end soon. I see Amber wiping her eyes. We're all like, Diego, anything that you...
No real questions. One thing that you answered that came up to was just the question about like authenticity, like feeling like you're like being yourself instead of being like a phony sort of extrovert. So that's a good way to respond to that.
Yeah. Again, a good profile will actually repel people who shouldn't be interested in you. That's part of the role as well. It should attract the people that you want, and maybe a little bit wider than that, but that's it. I don't want people who pitching me sales and marketing positions. That's not what I'm interested in. So when they do that, I'm kind of like, why are you? I don't understand. So Paulo, do you have a question or a comment that just want to hear your voice?
No, not really.
Okay. And then Leah, Jamie, anything else? Leah, nothing? Jamie?
I sort of had a question actually.
Sure.
I just wanted to go over something that you said earlier, where I think t'as laissé entendre that like it's good to have like failures, and even if we fail at things, like we should still talk about them. If there are projects that didn't work out, we should still like. This is true.
I would tend to say that you don't generally put failures on a resume because the context is too thin. But it is okay to mention them in an interview in an appropriate way.
Right.
So people, and it's not even an uncommon interview question. People say, talk about one thing that you've done where you failed. And the way to answer that is you talk about how you failed, but then how you turned it into a lesson, or it became compost for the next sort of step in a learning process. That's pretty straightforward.
Okay. And even if it's something that shows that you, I mean, if it's a personal endeavor, it's not enough to just show that, oh, you had a project and you tried to do something.
Well, like what Jeremy was talking about is like if you put together a project to enter into a competition, or you put together something that, I tried to launch this website that did X, and that just didn't work out the way that I expected. It's like you did it, and it didn't work the way that you thought it was. It kind of failed, but you did it, and you learn a lot from doing things and failing.
Right.
I wouldn't lead with that as a general rule. Although the 5,000 hours of StarCraft, I don't know, I think we need a certificate for that. That is definitely like, that needs to be like on your wall behind you whenever you do interviews. Just
right. Okay.
That shows just sheer cussedness. Yeah, boss, just give me a tap. I will never give up. I will never, ever, ever stop trying. All right. So that's an hour and a half. This is a Zoom limit here. We're about to cross. So I'm going to ask you guys for just one last thing, which is if you could just take a moment and think about one takeaway, the thing that's kind of resonated with you the most, and just type it into the chat. And so I'm really this is just a normal learning checkout. A thing that for you is just, this is the learning at this particular moment in time you're going to carry away from this session. Yes, it's totally doable. I agree. That's awesome. Yeah, it's personal. Yeah, that's it. Story instead of skills. These are great. Awesome. No, it's not selling your soul. Yeah, see, this is it. You guys are great with language. This is exactly, play to your strengths. All right, so, and this, we're not quite done. Amber, are you going to contribute one too? It's going to come in? No, come on, you can't sit there for an hour and a half and not have a contribution here at the end. Everyone get it? These are great. So this last thing is a reflection, and I kind of want you to open your hearts for just a second and to hear this as somebody who's taught at McGill and at Concordia and the Liberal Arts. You guys are amazing. Like truly, it is inspiring. You are inspiring as a group of students. You don't see that always. You have this sense of yourselves that is not always an accurate reflection of how the world sees you. And if you just play to your strengths and be yourself, this question of authenticity, be that nerdy self. There are lots of other nerds out there in the world who would love to meet you. Okay. So I just want you to hear that from somebody who's been out there, and there are a lot of people who are just waiting for you to pick up the phone and call them. Like they can't wait. So keep being your awesome selves. And this has been a great deal of fun. So thank you all for showing up. I really appreciate it. And oh, applause even. Oh, wow. Okay. So if you guys all have my email address, reach out if you have any further questions. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Where do we do the reflection? Oh, type it into the chat, Paulo. follow. Oh, you can just send it to me by in email. That's fine. I just want to see what you guys picked up from this.
But I meant because you mentioned like a sort of reflection or you wanted like a feedback.
Yep.
So.
Well, I'm
so
going to send you guys. I'm going to send you a survey, a Google Form survey, which
Okay.
will come in the next hour or so. So you can just type it there. It's all cool.
Sounds
All
good.
right. Yeah. So again, thank you guys. Bye. Have a great summer. Stay in touch.
Bye.
Bye.